What is up, diehards? Wes Monell in the building for AWOL Sports. Kicking it with Paul Durfee and Drew Lacuesta. Today we'll dive into some rushing and receiving. Look, everyone says they're good at fantasy football. I'm a tough sell, and I got an accurate BS meter. These guys will tell you we're not yes men here. I played fantasy football with a lot of different people since 1999. Just like real football, the best, they're not always going to win every year. It is what it is, especially if you're playing competitive leagues, different type of leagues. That's where the beauty is. These are two of the best I've ever played against over the years. That's why they're here. So let's hit the ground running like a no-huddle offense. Let's talk running the football. Two players carry the ball over 300 times in 2019. Derrick Henry went off. 303 carries, 1,540 yards, 16 touchdowns, ranking first in all three categories. The only player in the league to average 100 yards per game. The other guy, Ezekiel Elliott, 301 carries. He led the league with 78 rushing first downs. And the others that ran for 70 first downs or more, Henry, Chris Carson, and Lamar Jackson. QB making that list. Paul, we'll start with you, man. Does Derrick Henry and or Ezekiel Elliott carry the rock 300 times next season?
Man, this was a tough one. I've been thinking about this going back and forth because, I mean, those guys are true workhorses, in the NFL, which is becoming even more rare these days because you get a lot of split backfields and things like that. But Henry, I mean, with that long playoff run they rode him hard last year. He had over 400 touches combined in the regular season and the playoffs. And history shows, and I'm a numbers guy, history shows that the next season it's hard to break that 300 once you get over it. So I expect a little bit of regression just because I think he's been the workhorse for years now. He's getting closer to 30, getting closer to that running back area where they start to tail off a little bit. I still expect him to have a big season, but I'm gonna go with under 300 in this case. So I'm going under here, and then with Zeke, I'm gonna go under as well for a little bit of a different reason. He barely had over 300 touches the last 2 years, so he's pretty consistent. So you figure he'd be close to that. But then, with bringing in CeeDee Lamb and bringing in Mike McCarthy, who's, historically he doesn't run the ball a ton, and they got all these weapons now, so that I feel like, they might try to open the passing game up a little more. So, we'll see. But I guess based on that, I think he will be slightly under. So I'll take both under, but just barely.
Yeah, 301, that's pretty slim. I'm going to have to take the other side on this, on both running backs, actually. Having Henry last year, obviously, if he's on your fantasy team, you're going to watch every second. Even if they're down by 21 points and 2 seconds left, you want to know if he has that last carry or that last garbage touchdown. But Derrick Henry is a beast, man, and they both got paid. So as far as, using your prized asset, I think both teams are going to use as much as they can of each player. They're obviously both of them are obviously what drive each of those offense to move the sticks. Derrick Henry doesn't really have a match in the backfield that could, steal any of his carries. Same thing for Ezekiel Elliott. On the Mike McCarthy side, yes, he hasn't really been known for running the football, but, a lot of the reports are he threw everything out the window. A lot of the reports from other coaches and teams were saying when he was doing his interview is that he's open to suggestions. So I think it's going to be pretty nasty offense. I think they're going to be a lot better in the red zone, a lot closer to the goal line. And, it's going to be tough for CeeDee Lamb to be in early production in the season, especially with limited practices with this pandemic. I see them both over 300. Maybe not too far. I think Henry will crush it, to be honest. I think he's up in the 320, 330 mark.
Wow.
Zeke will definitely be over. Maybe not that much, but definitely at least 300.
Wow, okay. Paul says no for 2. Drew, you say 2 for 2. I'm with Paul here. I say no to both. I can see it. They've done it. So, yeah, I can totally see it. If I had to put money down, I'd say no. you kind of already alluded to it, Mike McCarthy, new head coach, the offensive mind over there, being open. I actually think I think he's opening up to a guy that's similar to him because Kellen Moore, we know he was calling the shots on offense. It wasn't Jason Garrett. It was a different offense. They catered to the pass way more. I think they fell in love with the pass too much to the detriment of their team. Look, offense wasn't their problem. They went 8-8 and missed the playoffs. You can't play fast break offense, throw all day, and just leave your defense out to dry, especially if they're not that good, which they weren't. Closer to average than they really were good. Throwing McCarthy, head coach, that he's a West Coast offensive guy. Pass, pass, pass. That's what they're going to do, and that's actually maximizing Prescott through the air. I get it, but that's two coaches that want to do the same thing. Doesn't really favor me betting on Zeke getting 300 carries, touches for sure. Look, they got 3 shining wide receivers to air the ball out. And, they had 3 last year, but I think we all view Cobb. Going from Cobb, no disrespect to a veteran, to CeeDee Lamb, seems like an upgrade on paper. And then losing Travis Frederick, one of the best centers in the league, to retirement, that doesn't help Zeke's case either, especially if their defense continues to be average and they got to just play in shootouts. So that's why I'm not really in on Zeke for carries. Touches is a different story. He's going to get the ball through the air a lot too. The Titans, they needed to lean on Henry, and they did. It's how they're built, and they got a contract done today, last minute, instead of playing on the franchise tag, because I actually think he would have held out, to be honest. Arthur Smith, that's their OC. He actually, they interview all these coaches. There's downtime. There's nothing else to do. He said they'll see how the season evolves when it comes to Derrick Henry and touches, and that we'll see if other running backs step up. So I combine that with looking at another running back that wasn't really known for receiving, Leonard Fournette. This dude, he went from 22 receptions to 76 the past 2 seasons. I'm not saying Derrick Henry is capable like Fournette, but from 22 to 76 is drastic. DH, he had 18 receptions. That was actually a career high. Even if he's not Fournette going to 76, I expect him – he got paid. And they made the playoffs, and they know that's alpha, feature guy number 1. I think he's going to get the ball a lot more through the air, a little bit, a shade less on the ground. That's why I take the under on both. But, Drew, like you said, man, you pick both to do it again. I could totally see it. I can totally see it. I'm just betting the under on that, but they're going to get a ton of touches. That, look, you're still going to want them in fantasy football in the first round. So, But hey, if you had your pick, these two are on the board. Who do you want, Paul?
Well, it depends what kind of league you're in. If you're in a PPR league, I'm taking Zeke all day. If it's non-PPR, I'll probably go with Henry. So it kind of depends on what kind of league you're in. I mean, most leagues these days are PPR leagues, so I feel like you just alluded to with Zeke, like he's going to get a lot of touches. He's going to get screens. He's going to be, he's going to get split out. He's going to get a lot of chances at getting receptions too. So besides the carries. So I think that's something that Henry hasn't really done, at least to the level of production that Zeke has as far as receiving the ball. I mean, I think he could, but they just don't have that option in the offense. So yeah, that's my pick. And also with Henry, they lost Conklin, who was probably their best who was probably the best lineman. So it's another factor.
That's true. They also lost Deion Lewis. That could help.
Yeah.
Drew, who do you want, man? You're on the board, first round.
Just because Zeke has more options to hide behind. He can hide behind Amari's greatness. He can hide behind, despite what people say, Dak's occasional greatness. He can hide behind Michael Gallup's highlight plays, and he has a proven great O-line too. So Henry's a little bit harder to hide behind. Everyone knows that they're going to pound the rock. I just think he's that great that he can still – I mean, he did it last year in the playoffs and during the regular season versus 7, 8, sometimes even 9-man fronts, playing that zero coverage. he will still be able to gain, 3 to 4 to 5 yards. I just think it'll be easier for Zeke, and he can hide behind those weapons. So I would take Zeke.
Fair enough. Easy selling point. Even if I didn't already feel that way, taking Zeke over DH, y'all sold me anyway. So